Okay, terrific. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight, either in person or online. I think we'll start tonight by we're going to do the minutes from July. I believe it was July 23rd. They've been distributed, so I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Great, and we'll start with you, John.
Yes.
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 Okay, minutes are approved. Excellent. Our first case tonight is a continuation. It's Irvington Place. Do we have somebody? They're not.
No.
They are
They're
not with us.
being heard. They
Okay.
submission.
Okay, so we're not gonna hear them tonight. If they come back, do they have to renotice? Yeah, okay, so I think we're just striking them off then. We're not, that's not a continuation.
Okay,
Right.
so you want me to remove them from the agenda and they can be put back on when they reapply?
When they reapply, I think so, because if they have to renotice, then I think we have to go through that process, right?
Okay.
Okay, great. All righty, so the next one is 31 Maple Street. New matter. Do we have anyone on that?
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Hi, this is Justin Lukash. I'm the owner of 31 Maple Street.
Great.
Share my screen. Okay. Are you able
Great.
to drawing here?
Yes.
Okay. So we're returning. You all had approved plans back in 2022, and then we got a renewal for 2023. And we've mostly completed this project, but the patio that you see bubbled here, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. In the original plans, the bubbled area on the left had plantings. There was a window in the back there, so it had plantings in front of the window. And then the bubbled area on the right did not have tile. And we're asking for permission for those to be filled in. So it's an additional 40 square feet of patio.
Okay, so why the change?
At the time we were building the patio, we realized, so in the original kind of concept for this, the rear entrance was here in this sort of left corner at the back left of the car. And
Yes.
there was not an entrance in the back. So when we changed it, there is now an entrance at the back corner of the extension. And without the additional patio tiles on the back, it sort of makes for a cramped walkway area. And then the plantings, I would chalk it up to kind of rookie mistake as sort of first time renovators. Once we kind of saw the large window that we're putting in place, it didn't feel logical to have dirt and plants there. It's just going to be kind of a mess. So that's where our reference to change.
So you changed where the door was, and that's the change. So that's the only change you're asking for
That's
tonight.
correct.
Is that
Yes.
40 feet? Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any comments? Okay, well, we usually don't love people coming back to us a second time. We like to get everything done all at once, but we'll let you chalk this one up to a rookie mistake. And
I appreciate your flexibility.
I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, and Charlie, we'll start with you.
yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
All righty, you are approved. I will send you a letter by the end of the week.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, did Judd second or Charlie?
So it was Charlie.
Okay,
Yep, yep. Excellent. Okay, so the next is 30 South Broadway, Toll Northeast.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm a project manager with Toll Brothers.
Great.
So today I'm just here to,
Could you just spell your last name just for the record?
sure, it's Hurley.
Excellent. Thank you.
So tonight I'm here to discuss an entry monument and temporary coming soon signage for our upcoming Marker Ridge community at 30 South Broadway. Just share my screen. Okay, so this was the initial site plan. Unfortunately, site entry signage wasn't included on this initial plan. And when we applied for the ARB application to get the signage approved, we were told because it's within the Broadway buffer, we do need to come here and speak to the zoning board. We are looking to install, this is what the entry sign would look like. Toll Brothers does this at all of their communities. It just kind of provides a sense of arrival, and, for visitors and deliveries. The idea is to have the sign, switch screens, the messaging would face north and south.
Okay.
So this here is kind of an aerial view. The messaging would be facing north and south here. Because it's such a busy street, we, want to make sure that people are able to identify where the entry of the community is. We did have some traffic engineers come and take a look. So this location that we're proposing is based on an evaluation and recommendation from them and their report, which ensures that sight lines are not being interfered with. We're about 24 feet off of the curb here, which would allow for for the sign with the 8-inch text to be seen from about 480 feet. So we think it's an appropriate location for install. And then as far as the coming soon signage, we would propose to install that it's one-way messaging. This is what the sign would look like here, but it's just one-way messaging facing the street, and that would just be installed right kind of next to behind where the proposed entry signage would be.
Right. Okay. I've got to tell you, in my time on the board, and that's a long time now, I don't know that we've ever approved a sign in the Broadway buffer. It's something that we take pretty seriously to keep signage down to a minimum. So you'd have to give us a pretty compelling reason, in my view, and I'm only speaking for myself, everybody else gets the same say as I do, but to come up with especially a coming soon sign, but almost any signage, we really need to know why you need to have it, because it's just not something that the code's pretty strong on this, that limits within the Broadway buffer. Does anybody else have any thoughts on this one?
No, I agree with you completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The apartment building just to the north
Yes.
has a sign right there.
Yeah.
So
The
I'm not
Irvington
sure.
Estate.
Irvington Estates.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not sure how that got there if these
Right.
people can't put a sign up.
right. Well, to me, that would certainly be different than a coming soon sign. Right. So we're talking about are we talking about two different signs or one sign? First of
So
all?
it's two different signs. They're kind of on the same application, but really like the permanent signage would be the entry sign, and that, the coming soon sign, if we're not able, that would be a temporary sign that would only be up for like a few months, and then that would come down. The entry monument sign, that would be, that's its own separate sign that would be permanent for for as long as the community exists.
I would make a distinction between those two signs.
Yeah, me too. So first of all, the coming soon sign is going to be a tough one for me personally.
And I agree with that.
My problem with even the other sign is that I don't know when that Irvington Estates sign was in there, but the code has been rewritten, I think, since that sign was up, and the sign's pretty tough. The code is pretty tough on signs in the Broadway buffer. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that? That's my
Well, I mean,
reading
the
of it.
co-op is pretty old. I mean, it goes back to the
Yes.
sixties or fifties, so I think
Yes.
it certainly predates the Broadway.
Predates the code, I'm sure it
Yeah.
does. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
so-
And in other cases, I know we've rejected signs for
Right.
Field Point
Yeah,
that we did
Oh,
reject. Yeah.
right.
That doesn't have signage,
Right.
Broadway buffer.
Right.
So, and I remember that application coming to us, and we did reject that because of there wasn't a compelling reason to go outside of the code for
Right,
that
like what would be the problem with the sign being
30 North Broadway or whatever, 30
outside
South Broadway. Yeah.
outside the buffer though, like
Right, that would be my question. Why couldn't the sign be
further up the driveway?
further up the driveway and not
So
accomplish the
I think my understanding is that the Broadway buffer goes pretty far kind of up, and I think the purpose is, because this is such a busy, street on South Broadway, and that the average speed there's, about 37 miles an hour. It's just such a tricky entrance, the way the entry road kind of is, curved, and it's easy to miss if you're kind of driving by quickly. So kind of for safety reasons, that's why we proposed it to be, as close to the road as we could without interfering with sight lines, but also to be seen from the road. So people, understand that this is Marker Ridge. So, nobody's stopping short or having to make any dangerous maneuvers to kind of get into the road because of just the way the topography is.
Courtney, do you use, when you're going to an unknown location, do you use your phone and put an address in to find your location?
Yes.
We have a lot of deliveries. I live on Broadway. We have a lot of deliveries, and we've never missed a delivery. Like, they're always very good. And, the Uber drivers or Amazon drivers, they find where I live. And I just have, my street address, Broadway, and that's it. So, I think with technology these days, people who are trying to find, 30 South Broadway, they should be able to find it, in my opinion.
Courtney, I don't mean to disagree with you, but I shall. People going down or north or south in that part of Broadway do not go 37 miles an hour. That traffic light at the bottom of the hill stops everybody each way that they go. I don't think people do violate the speed limit further south on Broadway, or technically the speed limit is 30 miles an hour. Occasionally people get pulled over, but nobody going up that hill or down that hill because of the traffic light, I believe, goes 37 miles an hour. They have to, they're just not the way people go. They can't go that fast.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I know with Toll Brothers does this everywhere, and I totally understand that that's your policy. It's just we're pretty touchy about our Broadway buffer. I know we've said no to other housing communities in the same circumstances. And I just don't see, particularly, and you know, 10 years ago, more is probably when we said no to Field Point. And since then, technology, I mean, you just put 30 South Broadway in your phone and you're there. I just don't see a compelling reason to give a variance on something that is set aside in the code specifically, like it has its own provisions, because the trustees would like us to take that pretty seriously. And I just, in this case, can't see a compelling reason. So I am going to make a motion to deny, if I have a second.
I second.
Okay, we'll start with you, John.
Yes, I agree.
Agree.
Yes.
Agree?
Agree.
Yeah, sorry about that, but that is a,
No problem. Just to be clear though, we would be able to put signage beyond the Broadway buffer, like more within the community. Am I understanding
yeah,
that?
I mean,
Like, it's outside of.
you would need to come to us. Now, you may need to go to the building department and check with them, but as far as you would not need a variance from us, I assume.
Right.
You would have to check with the building department, but
Right.
I
I assume
can't-
still, yeah, still like the ARB, would still have to approve the signage and
sure,
everything,
yes.
I assume.
You have to go through the other
okay.
process, but it clearly wouldn't have to come to us because you weren't asking for anything but this
Well,
one variance,
it
right?
clearly wouldn't come to us for a Broadway buffer
Oh,
variance.
my God, right, exactly.
Right, it might come to us for some other variance.
Right, if for some reason you needed like a.
You may not be able to
variance
get
or
away from
something,
us.
but I imagine if you needed that, you would have already been coming to us
Yeah,
for that.
right.
So I'm assuming that as long as it's not in the buffer, we're not going to hear about it.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the next case is 84 Fargo Lane. Morris and McCarthy.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for your time this evening. My name is Peter Altamari. I'm with Michael Lewis Architects. I represent the clients here, and I'm going to share my screen.
Peter, can you spell your last name for me?
Sure. It's sorry, multitasking. Altomare.
Thank you.
Great, thank you guys. Okay, so we are here. We went through the planning board. Now we're here at the zoning. We're proposing a small, modest addition to our client's home at 84 Fargo Lane. Our clients, Matthew and Heather, are both doctors. This addition has come in to the project. I'll show more drawings as you guys need. They came to this project, basically, they hired us. They have a stair in the house that is treacherous. It almost is, it's almost like climbing a ladder. This house is extremely old. So they hired us to come in and replace the stair and put a code compliant stair, which we did. While we did that, we eliminated their current home office, which has a door on it. And they both use, they're both doctors. They both take, they have teleconferencing and appointments where they have to have privacy and quiet. By doing that, we've eliminated that office. We still have a mini office in there, but it doesn't have a way to close doors from the living room, from the home entry. So that kind of started the process of talking about this addition. The stair was already filed. It's been approved. That's a whole separate project. This is kind of coming after the fact now. So they proposed, or they asked us if we could add another additional room to the home over the existing garage of the house. There's a garage there. We're building literally right on top of the garage. And we're creating a den, a den for the home that I can close the doors on so the clients can have some privacy when they need to, when they have teleconferencing or appointments with their patients. They do have obviously bedrooms in the home, but the only rooms that have doors are bedrooms at this house. At this point, are bedrooms. that's not quite as professional as what they really need, so they asked again for this room. Again, I'll show, so I have some drawings from the previous, from what we filed. This is the existing site. We are in a zoned area where we are a quarter of what the zoning actually allows. So all the setbacks make it so that this is only where you can build on this property. So we are in a setback. The whole house is within a setback, basically. So anything you do to this house has to be filed with the zoning. This is where we're proposing the addition to the home. It's literally right on top of the garage. We're not changing any coverage. We're not changing anything like that. It's literally just on top of the garage. We have the floor to area ratio. We're not going in above and beyond on that. The only thing we're really looking at is a setback. This is the area that we're talking about here. You could see the stair. We created this office space, but there used to be a door here. This was not open. Now we've opened it all up. Oh, sorry. And now we've created this den. It will be a multifunctional space. Not only do they have 2 children, they have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old. So it will act as a den as well, but it will also act as a private space when the clients need to teleconference with a patient. Here's the elevations of the addition here. You can see again, right on top. We're not expanding and creating more coverage or anything like that. And again, the rear elevation for the addition. Clients did reach out to their neighbors. The neighbors that are affected primarily, 88 Fargo and 90 Fargo, both wrote emails, and I have them on the screen. I'm happy to bring them up for they support the project. The property, there's a driveway right here, shared driveway that 84 Fargo shares with 88 Fargo, and I believe there's another property back here. It's 88 Fargo's property that is the driveway, literally. They supported it as well as 90 Fargo. The clients also have hired a landscape architect. The landscape architect is proposing a hedge of skip laurels along the elevation along the property, along the driveway right here, to again help scale and hide the addition to the home. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking and let you guys comment.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Do we know there's nobody who wants, from
No.
the public who
That's
wants
a-
to comment?
Yeah, is there anybody, Sarah, who has their hand up or anything like that?
There's nobody present
Okay.
or neighbor.
Okay.
Any members of the board have any comments on this?
So I generally like this,
Yeah.
you know, I'm impressed that the only variance that they need.
Yes.
Is for the encroachment in the front and back. They're not in the aqueduct buffer. They're not
Yeah.
increasing coverage. So, you know, I am in general think that this is a very smart design and they're doing the minimum amount that they need to do to achieve what they want to achieve.
Yep. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I agree with the previous speaker.
Yep, I do too. I appreciate the efficient use of space and sort of ticking off a lot of the boxes that we have to look at when we talk about our standards. I think this is the least amount you could ask for, and that's what you're asking for, and I appreciate that. So I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second,
John, second. Okay, and John, we'll start with you. Is that yes? John?
yes, I'm sorry.
Got it. No problem.
Aye.
Yes.
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 Okay, you are approved. I will send you a letter by
I
the end of the
appreciate
week.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for your time. Good evening.
Could I make just a general comment?
Yeah, please.
From my perspective, the neighbor support here was
Yeah.
quite helpful.
Yes,
We sometimes get neighbor support and I don't think that it really adds to our understanding or makes it easier for us to grant the variance.
Yep.
In this case, I think it really did.
I think so too. Yeah, I appreciate
So
that.
to say, just because you get neighbor support doesn't mean we're gonna grant it.
But this was helpful. Yeah, I agree.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Yeah, thank you. We purposely, the client had specifically throughout the process has reached out to the neighbors. I mean, that's an important process. I mean, important step.
It is.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Take care.
You too. So our last case tonight is 12 Hudson Road East, Hater.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Dear Chairperson Gardner and members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, my name is Alan Ross. I'm the architect representing Colette and Jawad Hader, the owners of 12 Hudson Road East. We are applying for 2 area variances for FAR and lot coverage overages. I'd like to show how the history of the property, the improvements being proposed, and the limited nature of the requested variances support the application. Regarding the history of the property, I would like to acknowledge the generous support of Chair Kerr of the Irvington Historical Society. Regarding the FAR overage, the history of the property shows that to date, no floor area has been built without approval from the village, and that these approvals do not require variance. The added 121 square feet of area being applied for now is only 1.7% greater than the existing previously permitted floor area. The improvements being proposed that increase the floor area cannot be seen from the front or sides of the house, and from the rear they are screened by established plantings and a stockade fence. The house more generally appears to be appropriately scaled to the lot and the neighborhood. The FAR overage, including the 121 square feet of the proposed addition, is in keeping with the other houses in the neighborhood. This can be seen in the table on sheet A005, using the assessor property cards as an objective means of comparing floor area of the 17 properties compared with 12 Hudson Road East. 12 Hudson Road East would be between properties 11 and 12. Regarding the lot coverage, please note that the Haders are not proposing an increase from the lot coverage when they purchased the property in 2014. In fact, there's a net proposed lot coverage reduction of 978 square feet. This includes the removal of an asphalt play area and a shed. Although not considered lot coverage, there is also a reduction in the driveway area of 661 square feet. All changes from the survey dated October 2, 1991 to the current date are shown on sheet A002 titled Lot Coverage and FAR Diagrams. Existing lot coverage is defined by the village as the lot coverage shown on the survey from 1991. And that was when the application was approved then, for the work then approved by the planning board. As with the FAR, the lot coverage approved at that time was done without a variance, and in the words of the chairman, will not cause the structure to exceed coverage or setback requirements applicable to the 1F-40 district. The total added lot coverage being applied for from that date is 9.9% greater than the existing. This includes both the proposed work and all the elements added since the 1991 planning board approval. These are bluestone walks, bluestone terrace area at its west side, and small utility pads. The 121 square foot of the addition and the 103 square feet of the proposed bluestone walk is only 3.2% of the existing lot coverage and only 5.4% greater than the lot coverage allowed. The allowable existing proposed lot coverage values are, well, I think you've read those: 4,129 square feet, 6,908 square feet, and 7,595 square feet, respectively. Again, the proposed lot coverage is in keeping with the other houses in the neighborhood. This can be seen intuitively from the site plan and from the Google satellite views. The property has large grass and planting areas on all sides. In summary, the haters are applying for very limited increases to FAR and lot coverage to make their home safer, more functional, and more attractive. By eliminating a curb cut, reducing driveway area, and removing a large asphalt play area and a tool storage shed, they are increasing green area, reducing stormwater runoff, and improving the appearance of the property from the street. The small addition to the house will not be visible from the front of the house or either side, and the proposed changes will benefit the property, the neighborhood, and the village. That's my case.
That's your spiel, huh? Okay, thank you. Do we have any questions?
Not a question, just a comment. You said the FAR is like only 1.7% more. Some of us here get a little concerned when people use percentages that way.
Sure.
It goes from 1.6 to 23.6 or what they may not have the exact numbers, but it's less than 2%. But in percentage terms, it's like a 9% increase, not a 1.7% increase. 1.7 percentage points increase, but the overall increase is 9%.
Well, we're going from the current FAR is 7,190. I'm sorry, floor area, gross floor area. Current gross floor area is 7,196 square feet, and we're adding 121 square feet. So on a pure square foot basis, that's 1.7%. If you're looking at the FAR, which is a different calculation, it's a 2% increase. And
but as a percentage of the overage, it's 9%. It's a 9% increase in the overage.
The current overage.
Yeah.
I do have that all broken down on the lot coverage sheet, which I could share and discuss.
That would be-
That'd be helpful. Let me pull that up.
I'm sorry, I don't have the sheets.
You can.
Have the sheets here,
I
but
think you can, yeah,
Would you like me to pull those up?
that would be great if you wouldn't mind.
Sure.
That would. Yeah.
Let's see here. Just take me a second. I did actually have them loaded up from your website, but let me pull them off my my files here.
I'm not sure we even need to see the numbers. I'm not explaining myself properly, I think. You
Yeah.
said that increase in overage is 1.7%. It's 1 percentage points, 1.7 percentage points. It goes from 21 something to 23 something. That's less than 2 percentage point increase. That is the percentage of the increase going from 21 to 23 or whatever it is.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, right?
Like a 9% increase.
Yeah, actually,
I'm a little technical here, but I just like to be careful about how we use the numbers.
sure, I understand. I guess the basic point that I was making is that the previous owners of the property, before 2014, when the haters bought the property, had done everything per code in terms of FAR, and they had approval for the work that was done, and was done without a need for a variance. It was just as of right, and if you take that square footage, I think it's 7,196 or so, and we're adding 121 square feet to that. So given what was previously approved, and what they're adding is a relatively minor amount, and also just an amount that cannot be seen anywhere, from the street or from the neighbors, and actually replaces an unsightly deck that is a little bit dilapidated.
And your point is also, I'm taking that there's not been a variance on this property before.
Correct. That was a surprise
Right, you
to
haven't- nobody's had to
us,
seek
and Checker was helpful and and guiding us to some of the records where it was demonstrated that in that particular planning board meeting, the chairperson actually stated that, just literally stated that it would, everything was in compliance.
Right, right, okay. Any other comments or questions?
I have a question. I'm trying to understand, I don't know what this is the analysis of the coverage for the
Sure.
property.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, so the existing is 6,908 and the proposed is 7,595. Is that right for?
Yeah, I actually have that lot coverage worksheet up here. Let me just look at it.
Just trying to. And the allowable is 4,129. And then that percentage is 20 on the proposed is 22.1.
Correct.
Okay.
Of the
Yeah,
lot.
and there, I guess, the sort of, for me, the key insight there was that, since, Google Maps satellite view in 2004 established that there were things that were done. There was approval in 1991. Then there were things that were done that were not approved. There was an asphalt area that was added sometime before 2004. There was a tool shed that was added, and a little smaller one was removed, but a tool shed was added again before 2004. So there were some things that were done that were not approved for lot coverage. The haters, of course, have not done anything that hasn't been permitted and approved. And what they're, given the condition as the property as is, they're removing, I think, 974 square feet of that most onerous or the egregious, the paved area near the street and the garden shed near the street. They're going to remove those and put plants there. The ask is that they be allowed to. Oh, let me just say one more thing. The addition is not adding to the lot coverage because it's over an existing bluestone terrace that was always permitted. So the addition itself does not add to the lot coverage problem. So what they're asking for with this variance is that they be allowed to keep the existing bluestone walks, and there's a small area to the west of the patio that was approved in 1991, and this was new patio was put down sometime before 2004. They're asking that they be able to keep that also, as well as a couple of small utility pads for air handlers and such. I think the reason, one of the justifications for that would be that they've been there since 2004 and haven't been problematic. And they are going to some expense to improve the property and in terms of its lot coverage, and also reducing impervious area in terms of the driveway. Also, the 661 square feet of the driveway, and removing a curb cut, which is make the street nicer, and they're going to do plantings there where there is just currently driveway and beautify the yard, and so it seems like there's a lot of positives. The actual ask of the addition is over lot coverage area already, so it's not hurting things, and they're just improving things. So it's basically just improving everything, and not making anything worse.
But they will have the most lot coverage in terms of the peer group that you have here, right?
I think they're not at
Well,
the
you're
top. I think they're
95, right?
if you look at sheet and the drawings, they're like third from the top, I think.
Well, I'm looking at the sheet. I have no idea what the page number is, but it says that the calculated coverage proposed is 7,595. I assume that's square feet. And that's certainly the biggest number in that column.
Right. Let me look here at the sheet. On the sheet here. Are you looking at the lot coverage calculation, 8.5 by 11 sheet, or the on one of the
The
drawings?
one with letters A through T on it and the many columns.
Right. Okay, yeah, A005, right? Yeah, let me just, so if you look at, see on this sheet, what we were trying to do is we were trying to, and with some guidance from the building department, we were trying to create a fair standard via which all the properties could be judged. And since we couldn't get access to the attic spaces and third floors and all that stuff, or get on properties and measure things, we basically used the property cards to get our data, as well as Google Maps to sort of try to assess driveway areas and stuff like that. So,
Right. No, I get that. It's an estimate.
yeah,
Right,
so,
but-
so then if you look at that estimate,
This is gonna be the biggest, right, in terms of calculated coverage. Based
oh,
on
yeah,
your number.
sure, but not in terms of percentage.
Right, I didn't say that.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I was over my head. Right, well, it's a large property. You know, it's
Okay.
one of the larger properties, you know, as you can see from the map lower on that page. It's there's one very, very large property on the next block over, but other than that, it's the largest property in the neighborhood. So, yeah. so-
Right, and so the coverage here is 25% higher than the next one.
You're talking
Right,
about,
the
again,
2008 and 7595. Right, almost 1,600 square feet.
right, 1,500, yeah.
Right,
But again, that's a product of that, if I may, that's largely a product of the way this house was, the accretion of the volume of this house over time. So it is a large, kind of long property. And the historic nature of the property's development, which is a large, long lot, and then the accretions of volumes over time, you know, resulted in a charming house with nicely scaled massing, but one which does cover a lot of floor of area on the lot. And then I think that in 1991, when that got approval for the pool and the terrace and some of the other stuff that you know, at that point in time, that's when the lot coverage really went up. But again, I think it's important to mention again that the lot coverage in 1991 was all, it was, at that time, it was over, you know, per the standards of that time, it was fine. It did not, as the chairman of the planning board at that time said, it was compliant. And so there were some additions since then, but they haven't been that great. So the degree of the overage that you know, you're pointing out is really most of that, I would say, you know, a great majority of that was actually legally approved without a variance. And what we're asking for now really is that the owners be allowed to reduce that, what's happened since then significantly, but keep some of the bluestone walks and a little bit of that bluestone patio. You know, and not
That's
bring it
not
back 100% to 1991.
Right. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So I'm just trying to make sure I understand the numbers. The numbers speak to me. Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
And it's the second largest house in the group that you've selected in terms of FAR.
Let's see here. Yeah, I'll take, I haven't, I'll have to look at it, but I take your word for it. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure I have the picture.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. That's a very valid point, and I think kind of goes to what the argument I was making.
I have a question. The coverage, the proposed 7,595, is there somewhere in the presentation, and maybe I'm getting old, I'm using the magnifying glass here, but where it'll kind of break it down and say, you know, the area around the pool is this and the area of the walkways are this, just to kind of
Sure.
outline.
Yeah, sure. Let me, can I share my screen? That might be
Yeah, that
helpful.
would be,
Yeah,
that would be
just
very
to
helpful.
understand where it's coming from.
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah,
sure.
I'd like to.
No, I appreciate being able to do this. So this is actually the drawing set from the application. And on one of these sheets, we broke down, this was a floor area ratio diagram here. And then this is the lot coverage, and this shows where the consulting engineer for the town requested that we stipulated that we label every area that had been added to the property since 1991. So this maybe partially goes toward your request. So what we have here is we have a summary of the changes from that survey, and you know, it just basically lists all of them. Some of them, like the sports court, is going to be removed. And then we have a breakout of some things that happened, but were not lot coverage elements, like a perimeter fence here. In terms of lot coverage, I think this is not lot coverage, but I think it's relevant. We're removing this area of current driveway. We're adding back a little bit of area here to make a turnaround more functional. We're adding a walkway here because there's no walk to the street except through the driveway. There's a walkway here that was on this survey from 1991 that's being removed, that has been removed. There's an equipment pad here, an equipment pad here, both minor. This area here, you can see dashed in here. That area was added since 1991. So 361 square feet of patio was added since the previous survey. So that's this area right here. This little.
And that's part of what you would like to keep?
Exactly, yeah. That's been there since 2004. And you know, it's very much used part of this pool patio. So what we would like to keep is, we like to keep that little area there, these equipment pads here. There's a couple of equipment pads here and here. And then this bluestone walkway here, and this bluestone walkway here. And then this area here is being removed. And this tool shed, garden shed, is being removed. Then the addition is back here in this little notch in the building, so that's why you can't see it from the sides of the street. And you know, there's a bunch of plantings down here in the stockade fence, so you can't see it from the rear yard either. So this area here is already over existing patio, so that does not add to the lot coverage.
Okay.
So you can see, in terms of area, we're taking out about over 1,000 square feet here, and we're asking to have it remain this 300 plus square feet here. Just because it's integrated in the patio, it's very well used. It's been there since 2004, and you know, as part of this application, which really is kind of for this little addition right here, they're making substantial improvements to the streetscape by these removals, and by removing the curb cut here. And just incidentally, removing this curb cut also helps, because there's another driveway across the street, so it just makes that driveway more comfortable. avoids traffic. Would it be helpful to show any photographs from the rear of the building or anything like that?
Does anybody want to see anything else? I think I've seen, I got a chance to get out there the other day as well. Okay, any other comments or questions from anybody? Anybody want to be heard? No? Okay. I'm gonna make a motion to approve. I do appreciate the give backs. I appreciate that, you know, it's not increasing the coverage as it is, even though that coverage actually hasn't been legalized. So that's why you need the variance. But I think it's a relatively modest ask, all things considered. So I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second,
Second, and we'll start with you, Charlie.
yes.
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 Alrighty, you are approved. I'll send you a letter by the end of the week.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time and service.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night. All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.